Hey, welcome to Rob Wright's Cargo Bikes. In this video, I'm going to be recapping and analysing the 2023 Kolektif Berlin Bike Fair Cargo Bike Race. So let's get right into it. Okay, so for the uninitiated, there are a few different formats to cargo bike racing, but here's a quick rundown of the race format and rules at this particular venue. Up to 4 riders race in a heat through to quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then hopefully finals if you're fast enough. I say up to 4 riders as sometimes there aren't enough participants to fill out the brackets, especially in some of the specialist cargo bike categories. Each heat is 4 laps. The first lap is ridden empty, you load your cargo on the second lap, complete 2 laps loaded, unload on the final lap, and then finish the race empty. There are 4 sets of identical cargo, so each rider has the same load to keep it fair. In this case, there was a car tyre, a pool noodle, a plastic tray, and a fold-up chair. That's the main points covered, but I'll add a few nuances to the rules as we go through the video. Okay, so lining up for the first heat of the first race. There's 4 riders in this heat, and the top 2 go through. So positions 1 and 2 going through to the next round. Right, here we go. Good start for me there, straight into first place, and yeah, we'll get a good look at the course now as well. It was an oval course, a fairly simple course, but it was on an industrial estate, so it was really bumpy ground, with lots of potholes and manhole covers and things and drains, especially on this back straight here, which was really bumpy, which made it a little bit tricky carrying the cargo. So here we are coming into the first load now. Yeah, shout out to Team Lachlan team manager, Team Lachlan apprentice there, my wife and my daughter manning the cameras. So there we go, there's the first of the cargo, the plastic tray, the chair, and now the tyre and the pool noodle. And not a bad load, didn't lose much time, didn't lose any positions, and I'm into my second lap in first place. So I've opted not to secure my load. I've seen a few other races where people have spent quite a long time securing their loads with straps and inner tubes and things, and yeah, okay, that means you can ride the course a bit faster without worrying that anything's going to fall out, but then the compromise there is that it takes you longer to load. Like I say, I've opted not to secure my load, and yeah, well, let's see how that works out. So I'm looking behind now, and I can see that I've got a bit of breathing space to second place and then third place. Like I say, top 2 go through, so I'm pretty chill at this point. Yeah, and then you can see that poor chap there's lost his load, so he'll have to get all of his cargo back in the bike to be able to finish his race. Okay, so here we are coming into the first unload of the first race. Staying outside of the yellow line there. If you cross that yellow line with your bike, you receive a penalty. I'm not sure if it's like 5 seconds or you docked a position, but either way, stay outside of that yellow line. So everything has to go back on the pallet, and the seat had to be unfolded so that you could sit on it. And then this yellow line that I'm approaching now, everything had to stay on the pallet until you cross that yellow line. So that's to stop people just throwing cargo onto the pallets without a care and then shooting off. It's a little bit more realistic, as that way you're taking more care of your cargo. So like I say, I'm looking behind, I'm in first place. This chap here is on his 3rd lap now, so he's not a problem. Pretty chill now, trying to save energy for the next heat, because there we are, across the line, first heat, first place. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, like I say, just trying to save my energy for the next rounds. Okay, so second heat now. You can see the ground's wet. It's rained quite a lot. So I'm a little bit more worried about grip. And it's another heat of 4. And again, the top 2 go through. So great start there for Sven from Elephant Cargo. We came together there. Looks like he was trying to push us wide, and I was trying to do my dive up the inside, cut everyone off trick, and we came together. I guess I probably should have yielded. He was half a bike length in front, but I guess that's racing. He was okay. You could see so much standing water now, really wet. Bit worried about grip, especially on these metal drain covers. And so here we go. Trying to take the inside into the first load of the second heat, and I'm always trying to get this first load area, because that way you have a free ride out. There's no one blocking you. Just makes it quicker. So here we are loading now. Chair in there. Yep, smashing the camera with the tyre. And then the pool noodle falls out. I mean, the best way for me to carry this, I thought, was in the tyre. So I lost a bit of time there. Lost my first position, down now to second position. But top 2 go through. So I'm keeping an eye behind. Yeah, I should mention that due to my extreme professionalism, I accidentally switched the rear camera into photo mode instead of video between the first and the second heat, and I didn't notice. So sorry about that. Working on that for the next race. But yeah, when you're in second position, you're on the bubble. You're always looking behind just to see where third place is, if there's a threat there, if there's a problem. You know, so I'm just trying to keep up with Sven here in first place and seeing what happens with the unload there. Again, super wet at this point. It's only just finished raining, or stopped raining. Still bumpy, still trying to figure out the line here, whether to stay on the outside where it's bumpy or inside where it's smoother. And then, yeah, into the unload. So you don't have to put the cargo back onto the same pallet you took it from. It all just has to go onto one pallet and then stay on that pallet. So a pretty good unload there. Didn't lose any time. Didn't gain a position, but didn't lose any either, so that's good. At this point, I'm checking behind, just trying to keep an eye on third place, see if they're going to sprint up behind me and try and steal that position. You can hear me breathing heavily there, so I guess third place was fairly close. But there we go, cross the line, second place, through to the next heat, and then straight up to Sven to apologise for the coming together. But it was all good. There you go, Ali's okay, so all good, just a racing incident, and yeah, sometimes that stuff happens. Okay, so third heat for me now. This was actually the semi-final. So again, top two go through, so I'm looking for a first or second place finish, but there was actually only 3 riders in this heat, I guess because there wasn't enough people to fill the brackets. So let's see how we get on. There we go, pretty good start for me, diving up the inside into first place. Don't really want to push too hard into this first corner because of the grip levels. These front loaders are a bit light on the front when they're empty. But yeah, first place so far, going into the first load. And then this trap tries to inside me into the first load, but I take my favoured position there as the first cargo area, and he's forced to go back and look for another empty spot. Luckily for him, there was only 3 riders in this race, but there were 4 cargo areas, so hopefully he wasn't too inconvenienced. But now you can see I'm stressing, like it flustered me a bit. I've dropped the seat, I'm losing time. Wasting a lot of time here, and then I've lost a position, worried that I'm going to lose it to third position as well. But we're off into second position. Because I was so flustered, I didn't do a very good job of loading, and you can see there I'm having to hold the load in with one hand, readjust it, which isn't ideal, especially with it being so wet and slippery. And this is where the bumpy track comes into play. I'm trying to race for position, I'm worried about third place. He was also a strong rider, but there I am riding one-handed, trying to keep the load in the bike. Maybe this would have been a good one to have secured, but again, like I say, it took me a long time to get it in the bike, so then if I'd spent extra time securing it, who knows which position I'd be in now. Yeah, still a bit stressed at this point, still got my hand on the load there, coming into the unload now. See, first place taking it pretty easy there, but I'm still trying to get a bit of a pace on here. Good unload there. Absolutely love having my daughter there shouting me on, lights a real fire under my bum, and really motivates me to keep going. So yeah, really love having my family at the races. Special shout out to Will for heckling and keeping the vibe going despite being knocked out in the early heats of the race. He stuck around to shout us on, and really appreciated keeping the vibe going there. And there we go, across the line, second place. And that's me securely into the finals. So here we are lining up for the final. Really stoked at this point. My goal for the day was actually just to get into the final. So I'm really happy, really stoked to be there at this point. I've done a few cargo bike races before in the e-bike category, but there weren't as many people in them. So the muscle class, as they call it, without motors, is usually more competitive as there's more people in it. So I was really stoked to get into the final for this race. Obviously, this is the 4 fastest riders of the day, so let's see how we get on. Okay, another great start from Sven there from Elephant Cargo. Still wet, as you can see. It hasn't rained anymore, but it's still wet, so still worried about the grip levels, especially with all this standing water. And yeah, onto this bumpy back straight now. And into the first load. And there we go. I wasn't paying too much attention to where I put my stand, and unfortunately dropped my bike there on the uneven ground, so I lost a little bit of time on the load there, which is super frustrating. It's flustered me a bit, like I'm panicking a little bit. So Lost some time there to Sven, and then also I lose second place now to this rider who's taken the inside. So at this point I'm thinking, right, okay, keep it together, stay on this guy's wheel, not going to chance an overtake. I mean, these are all the fastest riders of the day. You have to have a mega sprint on you to be able to take someone on a straight here. So yeah, just trying to concentrate on my line here, trying not to bounce the cargo around too much, and just trying to stay on this rider in front's wheel. Here we go now into the third lap. Sticking with him, but like really it's like a full gas effort at this point. My strict diet of beer and pizza is not helping me at this point. So here we come into the last unload of the day, and I'm hoping I can try and gain a position or two here. Obviously being careful not to drop my bike this time. Trying to be as fast as I can on the unload. Unfortunately, chair fell to the wrong side there, which is a bit of an annoyance. And you can see the rider in front of me has blocked my exit a little bit, which goes to what I was saying before about trying to get that first cargo area. But here we go. Out sprinted him to the first corner. Jumped on my bike as fast as I could, and now I'm going all out, absolutely blowing. I can see first place is too far ahead. I'm not going to win, but if I can hold on for second place, I'm going to be so happy. So here we go, just going as fast as I can now, all out, not even looking back, just sprinting, trying to sort of keep the middle, not encouraging overtake. And there we go, across the line, second place on the day. Really stoked with that. Super happy to have gotten into the finals, and now even happier to get onto the podium, especially with such a strong group of riders. And on quite a tricky course. Yeah, it's not a long course, it's not a technically difficult course, but with it being so bumpy and quite tight, it doesn't really leave too much room for overtaking unless you're super brave. So really stoked with that and had a really great time. So I'd like to say a huge thanks to the Cargo Bike race team who hosted the race. Check them out at cargobikerace.com to see if they have any races near you. They mostly host races in Germany, but there are quite a few other hosts and bike shows across Europe that put on cargo bike races, so check them out and see if you can sign up for a race near you. This race cost just €10 to enter, and there were different categories for different kinds of cargo bikes, so there's definitely something for everyone. Shout out to Sven from Elephant Cargo for winning the race. Please check out the Flying Elephant race in Augsburg if you're nearby. I'd love to go next year as it looks like loads of fun. Also a huge shout out to all the other riders for lots of close and fun racing. Thanks to everyone who braved the rain and stuck around to watch the racing despite there being an exhibition hall full of amazing bikes to look at. And finally, thanks to Team Lachlan for shouting at me to go faster and snapping photos. I hope you enjoyed this race review, and if you did, please subscribe to get more in the future. I have another race video from the Berlin Velo Show coming up soon, and of course I'll be at as many races as I can get to next year. See you next time.